A very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Let's first start off with a look at the stories that made it to your headlines this afternoon. Interim injunction issued by the Court of Appeal preventing the implementation of the delimitation gazette notification until the 4th of December. Minister Faisal Mustafa says steps will be taken to hold the election without any delays. Strike launched by health workers disrupt hospital services. Suspect arrested in Chilao with heroin worth 20 million rupees. Starting off with your top story this afternoon, the Court of Appeal issued an interim injunction preventing the implementation of the delimitation gazette notification issued with regard to the holding of the local government elections by the Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government until the 4th of December. President of the Court of Appeal, Justice L.T.D. Dehidenia, Justice Shiran Gunaratna and Kumuduni Vikramasinghe issued this order after considering a petition filed by 6 voters. When inquired, the Elections Commission noted that they will convene a meeting to discuss the order issued by the court and would comment thereafter on the future course of action. Meanwhile, Subject Minister Faisal Mustafa shared these views with Newsfirst.
I have been informed that the interim order has been issued with regard to the appellate delimitation report. We propose to take further legal recourse with regard to same, as the Excellency has advised me at no stage should be that the election should be postponed.
Now, the Met Department predicts heavy showers in the Sabaragamu province and in the Kalutara, Gaul and Mathura districts this evening. The Disaster Management Centre says that while a part of the island is experiencing showers, 30 districts are suffering due to a drought.
The Disaster Management Centre said that 444,465 people belonging to 192,699 families have been affected by the drought. The DMC added that the continuous supply of water is being provided to them. Dry rations are also being provided to over 122,000 people affected by the drought. The Putlam district is the worst affected district. 217,062 individuals belonging to 67,095 families have been affected in the district. Meanwhile, the Department of Irrigation says that only 63% of lands have been cultivated for the Maha season. Director of Water Management Division at the Irrigation Department, Vasanta Bandara Pulaskamul, said that the water levels of the reservoirs under the purview of the departments are at 29%. The Mahavali authorities said that only 50% of water requirement can be supplied to the Mahavali zone of the Maha season.
Now, the spread of the dengue epidemic appears to be back on the rise in a number of areas, including Colombo and its suburbs. Health authorities warn that there seems to be an increase in the spread of the dengue epidemic, particularly in the Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Kandy, Jaffna and Gaul districts. According to the chairman of the Entomologists Association, Najit Sumanasena, there seems to be a rise in the volume of mosquito larvae reported from those districts. Community physician of the National Dengue Eradication Program, Dr. Prashila Samaravira, said that 170,000 cases of dengue have been reported for the year thus far, and the number of deaths owing to the dengue epidemic has risen to 400. An individual who was in possession of 2 kilograms of heroin was arrested from the Karapukane area in Chilao today.
The arrest was made following a raid conducted by the Anti-Narcotics Unit at the Excise Department. Deputy Excise Commissioner M.B. Vansuri noted that million stock of heroin that was discovered was worth over 20 million rupees. The arrest suspect is due to be produced before the Chilao Magistrate Court. The Excise Department suspects that the drug may have been smuggled in from India. Further investigations have been launched.
Patients have been severely inconvenienced due to a strike launched by nurses and other health workers. Now, our correspondents around the island note that a large number of patients have had to turn back due to the lack of services.
The strike action has been launched by 17 trade union organizations whose members include those in supplementary health services, PHIs, pharmacists, radiographers and eye technologists.
පිටින් ගන්න පුළුවන් කිට් එක කියලා දෙන්න ડોක්ටර්. මේ දෙන්නේ නෑනේ ෆාමසියෙන් ගන්න ෆාමසියෙන් ගන්න සල්ලි නෑ.
ඒක කොයිතරම් දුක්ඛ විඳිනවද මේ ඇයි? මෙයා මේ ගහ ගහන අපරාධ.
දුර ඉඳලා ඇවිල්ලින්නේ මහරයන් රෑ 4 විතර නැගිටලා අපි ආවේ.
The protesters are calling for a resolution to salary anomalies in the nursing profession as well as the repayment of arrears overtime payments. Our correspondents note that issuing medicine, lab work, ECG test, X-ray scans and similar services came to a standstill today due to the trade union action.
A lecture titled India-Sri Lanka Economic Relations in Modi's India was delivered at the Lakshman Kadiragamba Institute recently by former Secretary of India's Ministry of Finance, Dr. S. Narayan. The joint lecture was organized by the Institute of Policy Studies and the Lakshman Kadiragamba Institute.
Often the trade negotiations happen at the level of policymakers, where one is talking about tariff lines of items which are allowed in the goods and services trade, items which are to be excluded. I think it is important to move the discussion away from the larger picture to the more business picture and to deal with issues which are facing businesses, not issues which are facing governments.
Speaking at a panel discussion, Chairman of the Institute of Policy Studies, Dr. Razin Sali, shared these views.
All countries in the world should be our civilizational friends. But India is our civilizational friend in a way that China is not. We need better quality, productive, private sector investment to come in from India. We need that integration. For straightforward commercial reasons, but we also need it for national security reasons. We need it to counterbalance the increasing Chinese influence in this country. We have Chinese influence politically, that's direct. We have Chinese influence through its state-owned companies. Fine as far as it goes, but these are state-owned companies. They're not necessarily as productive as private sector companies elsewhere. And of course, they have links with the party state. Having that without the counterbalance of productive private sector investment from India and the West and elsewhere is dangerous, because it then sets Sri Lanka down a path which Cambodia, Laos and other Southeast Asian countries have already traveled. And the end point of that path is the corruption of our political and economic elites, and a different and insidious form of capitalism or crony socialism which we might not be able to get out of.
A cave-in was reported in the Aranavela area in Pusalakumbura, Bandaravela. Our correspondent says that this is the third consecutive time that a cave-in was reported in the same location.
Cave-ins have been reported from the area on earlier occasions as well. On previous occasions, officials had attempted to remedy the situation by filling the area up with earth. On another occasion, area residents took up the initiative of covering up such cave-ins, which was around 10 feet deep and 10 feet in width. Our correspondent reports that an underground tunnel of the Umayyad projects is located 5 kilometers away from the area in which the cave-in was reported. During the past few months, a number of cavings and the drying up of groundwater was reported owing to the construction of the Umayyad multi-purpose project. Cracks were also seen in a number of houses in the Bandarwal area attributed to construction work on the Umayyad project.
Now, still in local news, the Sultanate of Oman celebrated its National Day in Colombo last evening. This year marks the 47th National Day of the Sultanate of Oman. The celebration saw the presence of the Ambassador of Sultanate of Oman to Sri Lanka, Juma Hamad Hassan Al-Sheikh, Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya, Minister of City Planning and Water Supply Rauf Hakim, and several other dignitaries. A special ceremony was held in Kandy yesterday to recognize environmentally sustainable companies.
The event was held under the auspices of Minister Susil Premjayantha and was jointly organized by the Peradeniya University and the Nanyang Technology University in Singapore. The Temple of the Tooth Relic was recognized for its effort to be environmentally sustainable. A token of appreciation was presented to the Devadana Nilame by the representatives of the Nanyang Technology University in Singapore upon their arrival at the temple.
Finally, train travel was halted for a few hours owing to an accident which was reported along the Hunupidia railway crossing yesterday. We leave you this afternoon with CCTV footage of the incident. Good day.